The Augustan Books of Modern Poetry. Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Faith and Despondency. The winter wind is loud and wild. Come close to me, my darling child. Forsake thy books and mateless play, and while the night is gathering gray, we'll talk its pensive hours away. I yearn round our sheltered hall, November's gusts unheeded call. Not one faint breath can enter here, enough to wave my daughter's hair. And I am glad to watch the blaze glance from her eyes with mimic rays, to feel her cheek so softly pressed in happy quiet on my breast. But yet even this tranquillity brings bitter, restless thoughts to me. And in the red fire's cheerful glow, I think of deep glens blocked with snow. I dream of moor and misty hill, where evening closes dark and chill. For lone among the mountains cold lie those that I have loved of old, and my heart aches in hopeless pain, exhausted with repinings vain, that I shall greet them ne'er again. Father, in early infancy, when you were far beyond the sea, such thoughts were tyrants over me. I often sat for hours together, through the long nights of angry weather, raised on my pillow to descry the dim moon struggling in the sky, or with strained ear to catch the shock of rock with wave and wave with rock. So would I fearful vigil keep, and all for listening never sleep. But this world's life has much to dread, not so, my Father, with the dead. Oh, not for them should we despair. The grave is drear, but they are not there. Their dust is mingled with the sod, their happy souls are gone to God. You told me this, and yet you sigh, and murmur that your friends must die. Ah, my dear Father, tell me why? For if your former words were true, how useless would such sorrow be, as wise to mourn the seed which grew unnoticed on its parent tree, because it fell in fertile earth and sprang up to a glorious birth, struck deep its root and lifted high its green boughs in the breezy sky. But I'll not fear, I will not weep, for those whose bodies rest in sleep. I know there is a blessed shore, opening its ports for me and mine, and gazing time's wide waters o'er. I weary for that land divine, where we were born, where you and I shall meet our dearest when we die, from suffering and corruption free, restored into the Deity. Well hast thou spoken, sweet trustful child, and wiser than thy sire, and worldly tempests, raging wild, shall strengthen thy desire. Thy fervent hope through storm and foam, through wind and ocean's roar, to reach at last the eternal home, the steadfast, changeless shore.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Philosopher by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. Enough of thought, philosopher. Too long hast thou been dreaming, unlightened, in this chamber drear, while summer sun is beaming. Space-sweeping soul, what sad refrain concludes thy musings once again? Oh, for the time when I shall sleep without identity, and never care how rain may steep or snow may cover me. No promised heaven these wild desires could all or half fulfill. No threatened hell with quenchless fires subdue this quenchless will. So said I, and still say the same, still to my death will say. 3 gods within this little frame are warring night and day. Heaven could not hold them all, and yet they all are held in me, and must be mine till I forget my present entity. Oh, for the time when in my breast their struggles will be o'er! Oh, for the day when I shall rest and never suffer more! I saw a spirit standing, man, where thou dost stand, an hour ago, and round his feet 3 rivers ran, of equal depth and equal flow, a golden stream, and one like blood, and one like sapphire seemed to be. But where they joined their triple flood, it tumbled in an inky sea. The spirit sent his dazzling gaze down through that ocean's gloomy night. Then kindling all with sudden blaze, the glad deep sparkled wide and bright, white as the sun, far, far more fair than its divided sources were. And even for that spirit seer I've watched and sought my lifetime long, sought him in heaven, hell, earth, and air, an endless search, and always wrong. Had I but seen his glorious eye, once like the clouds that wilder me, I ne'er had raised this coward cry, to cease to think and cease to be. I ne'er had called oblivion blest, nor stretching eager hands to death, implored to change for senseless rest this sentient soul, this living breath. Oh, let me die, that power and will their cruel strife may close, and conquered good and conquering ill be lost in one repose.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Remembrance by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. Cold in the earth, and the deep snow piled above thee, far, far removed, cold in the dreary grave, have I forgot my only love, to love thee, severed at last by time's all-severing wave. Now, when alone, do my thoughts no longer hover over the mountains on that northern shore, resting their wings where heath and fern leaves cover thy noble heart forever, evermore. Cold in the earth, and 15 wild Decembers from those brown hills have melted into spring. Faithful indeed is the spirit that remembers, after such years of change and suffering. Sweet love of youth, forgive if I forget thee, while the world's tide is bearing me along. Other desires and other hopes beset me, hopes which obscure but cannot do thee wrong. No later light has lightened up my heaven, no second morn has ever shone for me. All my life's bliss from thy dear life was given, all my life's bliss is in the grave with thee. But when the days of golden dreams had perished, and even despair was powerless to destroy, then did I learn how existence could be cherished, strengthened, and fed without the aid of joy. Then did I check the tears of useless passion, weaned my young soul from yearning after thine, sternly denied its burning wish to hasten down to that tomb already more than mine. And even yet I dare not let it languish, dare not indulge in memory's rapturous pain. Once drinking deep of that divinest anguish, how could I seek the empty world again?
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Outcast Mother by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. I've seen this dell in July's shine, as lovely as an angel's dream. Above, heaven's depth of blue divine, around, the evening's golden beam. I've seen the purple heather bell look out by many a storm-worn stone, and oh, I've known such music swell, such wild notes wake these passes lone, so soft yet so intensely felt, so low yet so distinctly heard, my breath would pause, my eyes would melt, and tears would dew the green heath sward. I'd linger here a summer day, nor care how fast the hours flew by, nor mark the sun's departing ray smile sadly from the darkening sky. Then I might have laid me down, and dreamed my sleep would gentle be. I might have left thee, darling one, and thought thy God was guarding thee. But now there is no wondering glow, no gleam to say that God is nigh, and coldly spreads the couch of snow, and harshly sounds thy lullaby. Forests of heather, dark and long, wave their brown branching arms above, and they must soothe thee with their song, and they must shield my child of love. Alas, the flakes are heavily falling, they cover fast each guardian crest, and chilly white their shroud is palling thy frozen limbs and freezing breast. Wakes up the storm more madly wild, the mountain drifts are tossed on high. Farewell, unblessed, unfriended child, I cannot bear to watch thee die.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
That Wind I Used to Hear by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. That wind, I used to hear it swelling with joy divinely deep. You might have seen my hot tears welling, but rapture made me weep. I used to love on winter nights to lie and dream alone of all the rare and real delights my lonely years had known. And oh, above the best of those that coming time should bear, like heaven's own glorious stars they rose, still beaming, bright and fair.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
There Was a Time by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. There was a time when my cheek burned to give such scornful words the lie. Ungoverned nature madly spurned the law that bade it not defy. Oh, in the days of ardent youth, I would have given my life for truth. For truth, for right, for liberty, I would have gladly, freely died. And now I calmly bear and see the vain man smile, the fool deride. Though not because my heart is tame, though not for fear, though not for shame, my soul still chokes at every tone of selfish and self-clouded error. My breast still braves the world alone, steeled as it ever was to terror. Only I know, howe'er I frown, the same world will go rolling on.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Night is Darkening by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. The night is darkening round me, the wild winds coldly blow, but a tyrant's spell has bound me, and I cannot go. the giant trees are bending, their bare boughs weighed with snow. The storm is fast descending, and yet I cannot go. Clouds beyond clouds above me, wastes beyond wastes below. But nothing drear can move me. I will not, cannot go.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Fall Leaves by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. Fall leaves, fall, die flowers, away, lengthen night and shorten day. Every leaf speaks bliss to me, fluttering from the autumn tree. I shall smile when wreaths of snow blossom where the rose should grow. I shall sing when night's decay ushers in the drearier day.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Heaven's Glory Shone by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. Heaven's glory shone where he was laid in life's decline. I turned me from that young saint's bed to gaze on thine. It was a summer day that saw his spirit's flight. Thine parted in a time of awe, a winter's night.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Song by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. The linnet in the rocky dells, the moorlark in the air, the bee among the heather bells that hide my lady fair. The wild deer browse above her breast, the wild birds raise their brood, and they her smiles of love caressed have left her solitude. I ween that when the grave's dark wall did first her form retain, they thought their hearts could ne'er recall the light of joy again. They thought the tide of grief would flow unchecked through future years. But where is all their anguish now, and where are all their tears? Well, let them fight for honor's breath, or pleasure's shade pursue. The dweller in the land of death is changed and careless too. And if their eyes should watch and weep till sorrow's source were dry, she would not in her tranquil sleep return a single sigh. Blow, west wind, by the lonely mound, and murmur, summer streams. There is no need of other sound to soothe my lady's dreams.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Tell Me, Smiling Child by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. Tell me, smiling child, what the past is like to thee. An autumn evening soft and mild, with a wind that sighs mournfully. Tell me, what is the present hour? A green and flowery spray, where a young bird sits gathering its power to mount and fly away. And what is the future, happy one? A sea beneath a cloudless sky, a mighty, glorious, dazzling sea, stretching into infinity. The inspiring music's thrilling sound, the glory of the festal day, the glittering splendor rising round, have passed like all earth's joys away. Forsaken by that lady fair, she glides unheeding through them all, covering her brow to hide the tear that still, though checked, trembles to fall. She hurries through the outer hall, and up the stairs through galleries dim that murmur to the breeze's call, the night wind's lonely vesper hymn.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Prisoner by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. In the dungeon crypts idly did I stray, reckless of the lives wasting there away. Draw the ponderous bars open, warder stern. He dared not say me nay. The hinges harshly turn. Our guests are darkly lodged, I whispered, gazing through the vault whose grated eye showed heaven more gray than blue. This was when glad spring laughed in awaking pride. Aye, darkly lodged enough, returned my sullen guide. Then, God forgive my youth, forgive my careless tongue, I scoffed as the chill chains on the damp flagstones rung. Confined in triple walls, art thou so much to fear that we must bind thee down and clench thy fetters here? The captive raised her face. It was as soft and mild as sculptured marble saint, or slumbering unweaned child. It was so soft and mild, it was so sweet and fair, pain could not trace a line, nor grief a shadow there. The captive raised her hand and pressed it to her brow. I have been struck, she said, and I am suffering now. Yet these are little worth, your bolts and irons strong, and were they forged in steel, they could not hold me long. Hoarse laughed the jailer grim. Shall I be one to hear? Dost think, fond dreaming wretch, that I shall grant thy prayer? Or better still, wilt melt my master's heart with groans? Ah, sooner might the sun thaw down these granite stones. My master's voice is low, his aspect bland and kind, but hard as hardest flint the soul that lurks behind. And I am rough and rude, yet not more rough to see than is the hidden ghost that has its home in me. About her lips there played a smile of almost scorn. My friend, she gently said, you have not heard me mourn. When you my kindred's lives, my lost life can restore, then may I weep and sue, but never, friend, before. Still let my tyrants know I am not doomed to wear, year after year in gloom and desolate despair. A messenger of hope comes every night to me, and offers for short life eternal liberty. He comes with western winds, with evening's wandering airs, with that clear dusk of heaven that brings the thickest stars. Winds take a pensive tone, and stars a tender fire, and visions rise and change that kill me with desire. Desire, for nothing known in my maturer years, when joy grew mad with awe at counting future tears. When, if my spirit's sky was full of flashes warm, I knew not whence they came, from sun or thunderstorm. But first a hush of peace, a soundless calm descends. The struggle of distress and fierce impatience ends. Mute music soothes my breast, unuttered harmony that I could never dream till earth was lost to me. Then dawns the invisible, the unseen its truth reveals. My outward sense is gone, my inward essence feels. Its wings are almost free, its home, its harbor found. Measuring the gulf it stoops, and dares the final bound. Oh, dreadful is the check, intense the agony. when the ear begins to hear and the eye begins to see, when the pulse begins to throb, the brain to think again, the soul to feel the flesh, and the flesh to feel the chain. Yet I would lose no sting, would wish no torture less. The more that anguish racks, the earlier it will bless. And robed in fires of hell, or bright with heavenly shine, if it but herald death, the vision is divine. She ceased to speak, and we, unanswering, turned to go. We had no further power to work the captive woe. Her cheek, her gleaming eye, declared that man had given a sentence unapproved and overruled by heaven.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Weary Task by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. A little while, the weary task is put away, and I can sing and I can smile alike while I have holiday. Where wilt thou go, my harassed heart? What thought, what scene invites thee now? What spot, or near or far apart, has rest for thee, my weary brow? There is a spot mid barren hills, where winter howls and driving rain, but if the dreary tempest chills, there is a light that warms again. The house is old, the trees are bare, moonless above bends twilight's dome, but what on earth is half so dear, so longed for, as the hearth of home? The mute bird sitting on the stone, the dank moss dripping from the wall, the thorn trees gaunt, the walks o'ergrown, I love them, how I love them all! Still as I mused the naked room, the alien firelight died away, and from the midst of cheerless gloom I passed to bright unclouded day. A little and a lone green lane that opened on a common wide, a distant, dreamy, dim blue chain of mountains circling every side, a heaven so clear, an earth so calm, so sweet, so soft, so hushed an air, and deepening still the dreamlike charm, wild moor sheep feeding everywhere. That was the scene, I knew it well. I knew the turfy pathway's sweep, that winding o'er each billowy swell marked out the tracks of wandering sheep. Could I have lingered but an hour, it well had paid a week of toil. But truth has banished fancy's power, restrained an heavy task recoil, even as I stood with raptured eye, absorbed in bliss so deep and dear. My hour of rest had fleeted by, and back came labor, bondage, care.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Shall Earth no more inspire thee? By Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. Shall earth no more inspire thee, thou lonely dreamer, now? Since passion may not fire thee, shall nature cease to bow? Thy mind is ever moving in regions dark to thee. Recall its useless roving, come back and dwell with me. I know my mountain breezes enchant and soothe thee still. I know my sunshine pleases, despite thy wayward will. When day with evening blending sings from the summer sky, I've seen thy spirit bending in fond idolatry. I've watched thee every hour, I know my mighty sway. I know my magic power to drive thy griefs away. Few hearts to mortals given on earth so wildly pine, yet few would ask a heaven more like this earth than thine. Then let my winds caress thee, thy comrade let me be. Since naught beside can bless thee, return and dwell with me.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Plead for Me by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. Oh, thy bright eyes must answer now, when reason with a scornful brow is mocking at my overthrow. Oh, thy sweet tongue must plead for me, and tell why I have chosen thee. Stern reason is to judgment come, arrayed in all her forms of gloom. Wilt thou, my advocate, be dumb? No, radiant angel, speak and say why I did cast the world away, why I have persevered to shun the common paths that others run, and on a strange road journeyed on, heedless alike of wealth and power, of glory's wreath and pleasure's flower. These once indeed seemed beings divine, and they perchance heard vows of mine, and saw my offerings on their shrine. But careless gifts are seldom prized, and mine were worthily despised. So with a ready heart I swore to seek their altar stone no more, and gave my spirit to adore thee, ever-present phantom thing, my slave, my comrade, and my king. A slave because I rule thee still, incline thee to my changeful will, and make thy influence good or ill. A comrade, for by day and night thou art my intimate delight, my darling pain that wounds and sears, and wrings a blessing out from tears by deadening me to earthly cares. And yet a king, though prudence well have taught thy subject to rebel. And am I wrong to worship where faith cannot doubt nor hope despair, since my own soul can grant my prayer? Speak, God of visions, plead for me, and tell why I have chosen thee.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Self-Interrogation by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. The evening passes fast away, 'tis almost time to rest. What thoughts has left the vanished day? What feelings in thy breast? The vanished day? It leaves a sense of labor hardily done, of little gained with vast expense, a sense of grief alone. Time stands before the door of death, upbraiding bitterly, and conscience with exhaustless breath pours black reproach on me. And though I've said that conscience lies, and time should fate condemn, still sad repentance clouds my eyes, and makes me yield to them. Then art thou glad to seek repose, art glad to leave the sea, and anchor all thy weary woes in calm eternity. Nothing regrets to see thee go, not one voice sobs farewell, and where thy heart has suffered so, canst thou desire to dwell? Alas, the countless links are strong that bind us to our clay. The loving spirit lingers long and would not pass away. and rest is sweet when laureled fame will crown the soldier's crest. But a brave heart with a tarnished name would rather fight than rest. Well thou hast fought for many a year, hast fought thy whole life through, hast humbled falsehood, trampled fear. What is there left to do? 'Tis true this arm has hotly striven, has dared what few would dare. Much have I done and freely given, but little learnt to bear. Look on the grave where thou must sleep, thy last and strongest foe. It is endurance not to weep, if that repose seem woe. The long war closing in defeat, defeat serenely borne, thy midnight rest may still be sweet and break in glorious morn.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Stanzas To by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. Well, some may hate and some may scorn, and some may quite forget thy name, but my sad heart must ever mourn thy ruined hopes, thy blighted fame. 'Twas thus I thought an hour ago, even weeping o'er that wretch's woe. One word turned back my gushing tears, and lit my altered eye with sneers. Then, bless the friendly dust, I said, that hides thy unlamented head. Vain as thou wert, and weak as vain, the slave of falsehood, pride, and pain, my heart has naught akin to thine. Thy soul is powerless over mine. But these were thoughts that vanished too, unwise, unholy, and untrue. Do I despise the timid deer, because his limbs are fleet with fear? Or would I mock the wolf's death howl, because his form is gaunt and foul? Or hear with joy the leveret's cry, because it cannot bravely die? No, then above his memory let pity's heart as tender be. Say, Earth, lie lightly on that breast, and kind Heaven grant that spirit rest.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Wanderer from the Fold by Emily Brontë. Read for LibriVox.org. How few of all the hearts that loved are grieving for thee now! And why should mine tonight be moved with such a sense of woe? Too often thus, when left alone where none my thoughts can see, comes back a word, a passing tone from thy strange history. Sometimes I seem to see thee rise, a glorious child again, all virtues beaming from thine eyes that ever honored men. Courage and truth, a generous breast where sinless sunshine lay, a being whose very presence blessed like gladsome summer day. O fairly spread thy early sail, and fresh and pure and free was the first impulse of the gale which urged life's wave for thee. Why did the pilot, too confiding, dream o'er that ocean's foam, and trust in pleasure's careless guiding to bring his vessel home? For well he knew what dangers frowned, what mists would gather dim, what rocks and shelves and sands lay round between his port and him. The very brightness of the sun, the splendor of the main, the wind which bore him wildly on, should not have warned in vain. An anxious gazer from the shore, I marked the whitening wave, and wept above thy fate the more because I could not save. It recks not now when all is over, but yet my heart will be a mourner still, though friend and lover have both forgotten thee.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Appeal by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. If grief for grief can touch thee, if answering woe for woe, if any ruth can melt thee, come to me now. I cannot be more lonely, more drear I cannot be. My worn heart throbs so wildly, 'twill break for thee. And when the world despises, when heaven repels my prayer, will not mine angel comfort, mine idol, hear? Yes, by the tears I've poured thee, by all my hours of pain, oh, I shall surely win thee, beloved, again.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Old Stoic by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. Riches I hold in light esteem, and love I laugh to scorn, and lust of fame was but a dream that vanished with the morn. And if I pray, the only prayer that moves my lips for me is, leave the heart that now I bear, and give me liberty. Yes, as my swift days near their goal, 'tis all that I implore, in life and death a chainless soul, with courage to endure.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Visionary by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. Silent is the house, all are laid asleep. One alone looks out o'er the snow wreaths deep, watching every cloud, dreading every breeze that whirls the wildering drift and bends the groaning trees. Cheerful is the hearth, soft the matted floor, not one shivering gust creeps through pane or door. The little lamp burns straight, its rays shoot strong and far. I trim it well to be the wanderer's guiding star. Frown, my haughty sire, chide, my angry dame, set your slaves to spy, threaten me with shame, but neither sire nor dame nor prying serf shall know what angel nightly tracks that waste of frozen snow. What I love shall come like visitant of air, safe in secret power from lurking human snare. What loves me no word of mine shall e'er betray, though for faith unstained my life must forfeit pay. Burn then, little lamp, glimmer straight and clear. Hush! A rustling wing stirs, methinks, the air. He for whom I wait thus ever comes to me. Strange powers, I trust thy might, trust thou my constancy.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Stanzas by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. Often rebuked, yet always back returning to those first feelings that were born with me, and leaving busy chase of wealth and learning for idle dreams of things which cannot be. Today I will seek not the shadowy region, its unsustaining vastness waxes drear, and visions rising, legion after legion, bring the unreal world too strangely near. I'll walk, but not in old heroic traces, and not in paths of high morality, and not among the half-distinguished faces, the clouded forms of long past history. I'll walk where my own nature would be leading. It vexes me to choose another guide, where the grey flocks in ferny glens are feeding, where the wild wind blows on the mountain side. What have those lonely mountains worth revealing? More glory and more grief than I can tell. The earth that wakes one human heart to feeling can centre both the worlds of heaven and hell.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Last Lines by Emily Brontë, read for LibriVox.org. No coward soul is mine, no trembler in the world's storm-troubled sphere. I see heaven's glory shine, and faith shines equal, arming me from fear. O God within my breast, almighty, ever-present deity, life that in me has rest, as I, undying life, have power in thee. Vain are the thousand creeds that move men's hearts, unutterably vain, worthless as withered weeds, or idlest froth amid the boundless main, to waken doubt in one holding so fast by thine infinity, so surely anchored on the steadfast rock of immortality. With wide embracing love thy spirit animates eternal years, pervades and broods above, changes, sustains, dissolves, creates and rears. Though earth and man were gone, and suns and universes ceased to be, and thou wert left alone, every existence would exist in thee. There is not room for death, nor atom that his might could render void. Thou art being and breath, and what thou art may never be destroyed.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
End of The Augustan Books of Modern Poetry, Emily Brontë.